What's up, y'all? Tiny little update before I head to work. As you can see, I'm getting ready for work, but that's besides the point. Prekeeper basically dropped a little thingy in our little server that is about this new update for generator regression changes. Now, it is as follows. I'm gonna just read it for y'all so you could get an understanding what this means. Next update. Survivors will no longer be able to tap regressing generators to stop them. They will now have to complete a skill check before generator stops regressing. The skill check will not grant any bonus progress or count towards survivor abilities. However, it will trigger abilities such as Watcher's Genlock mechanic. Saving a generator will now reward 10 XP. The skill check will also be affected by any killer abilities such as Watcher and Android double skill checks and abilities that will make them harder. They will not be affected by survivor abilities such as Tailor and a kill perks. The skill check comes as soon as you tap the gen. I'm reading this. I was talking to No Words about this whole thing. Maybe you can see a little bit in the background how we're discussing it, but I didn't fully read it until just now. This is actually kind of a good, mechanic. For one thing, I think me and No Words were under the impression that the skill check comes like as in normal, as in like a normal way you get skill checks, like 7 seconds into the gen you then get the skill check, but that doesn't seem to be the point. You tap it and then the skill check automatically comes, which is good as long as it stays that way. I think this is a very good update and it gives killers more flexibility on when it comes to gen locking and trying to manage their time between gens, because you know how a lot of people, I said because twice, so a lot of people, the way they play this game, especially survivors, they stick around the gen and then just loop around the gen, making them waste the killer's time, because the killer obviously wants that gen to regress, but they can't because they loop around the gen and then they tap the gen and so on and so forth, basically making the generator have no regression at all unless you're playing Android. But with this new update, if they are pressuring the gen, you kind of have to leave it be, because if you try to tap the gen and the killer comes in to pressure the gen, you're gonna be in part destroying the gen while trying to save it at the same time. So this is actually a very good mechanic. I think I'm pretty sure no Words may watch this video. I'm not sure. He probably will. But I think when we were talking about it, he's probably going to realize this before this video comes out. But we were thinking that, hey, this is kind of weird because, we didn't read the bottom part where it says the skill check comes as soon as you tap the gen. We thought it would come in regularly. Like, hey, the gen will continue to regress while not while you're on it, but when you're on it. If you don't get a skill check and you leave it, it just starts to regress, type thing, until you get the skill check, which is like 7 seconds into the gen. So we were thinking this might be kind of cracked for killer because, there's certain maps that don't support this in a more balanced way, like Cliffmac Beach, where there's 3 gens back to back and the killer can pressure 2 gens within a skill check time, which Watcher is very much able to do when those back 3 gens are surveyed. But when it comes to now that we're reading the bottom, this is perfectly fine. This change is perfectly fine. This is a good change. I don't see it being able to be abused, honestly. Depending, it does make it easier for skill gen locking, because survivors are gonna have to stick to gens more for it to be to get their progress back. This may honestly give Crosby much more of viability, way more viability. Hopefully the coding that Brenda has around this mechanic does not interfere with perks such as Anais, because Anais maybe, I'm just thinking of bugs. There may be a bug that Anais makes the gen controlled. Someone kicks it, and even though it gains, it still regresses because of it's kind of weird. Hopefully it doesn't turn out that way. I'm pretty sure it's not, because maybe that's the first thing that they would think of. Hopefully, but all in all, this seems to be a very good change, and it makes killers more flexible during the match, makes them way more. The gen patrol killers, is makes them easier to patrol gens. It just makes killers' life way more easier because they're allowed to put more pressure on gens without, you know, with the survivors basically now having repercussions for just camping gens. So honestly, this is perfectly fine change. It requires survivors to now, hey, this person's at the gen, time to move. If they're around the gen, gotta go to another one. Gotta keep it moving, because, you know, so killers, there's only one killer. So if a killer kicks a gen, and they're sticking around just in case, because you know how people are, they're fiends for gens, it requires the survivors to now think, oh, he's chilling there. Time for me to move. Go to another gen. Once he leaves, then someone will come back. It requires a little more brain power now, because, you know, you want the gen to be saved. But if the killer is pressing the gen, then you're gonna have to go somewhere else. It kind of forces survivors to now work on multiple gens at a time, which is the point of the game. So I think it's better for both sides for this update that's coming out next update. When I don't know when that is, but still, I believe this is a good change. I just wanted to talk about this a little bit. I gotta go. If you guys do, let me know what you guys think about the change, and I'll see you guys later. Take care, everyone.